One, and we're recording. Welcome to
Booyah!
Topia. Topia. I'm
We're
here with
back in the
Black
Topia,
Panther.
baby. Oh my God, they can see the whites of my eyes. There we go.
Yeah, wow,
That's
that looks
all.
great.
That's
Do
all right.
do that eye thing again. Can you see through it when the metal goes down?
Yeah. So it's not quite up there with the movies, but it's a decent style of thing.
Oh, it looks awesome. Where'd you get that from?
Thanks, man. But I do have to say it does get hard to breathe in these things.
I think I prefer the hat
So
though. Put the hat
you
on.
open this up,
Put the hat on.
oh,
Yeah, yeah,
take a breath of
yeah,
fresh air, and then
yeah. That's
oh
better.
my God. And then the crowd goes nuts. That's not who we expected under that helmet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But just like that, the unit's back.
Black Creek, even better.
Hey, I'm back in black.
Yes. And what do you? What's that shirt?
This is one I got when I met Michael Biehn. Had dinner with him, and it's a blend of all the two best ones that he's known for, both Terminator and Aliens.
Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah. Well, we did it, Lee.
We're back.
Did it. We're back. We're off last week because you were a bit under the weather. Then I was a bit under the weather. So I'm sorry we missed last week. But
Sorry,
geez,
everyone.
you know
There
when
does seem to be a bit of that bouncing around.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. And but I tell you, I really missed doing this podcast
I
because
did.
so much fun. It's so much
Oh,
fun. And we got like 100 views and thank you.
wow.
Oh, what's it? Who's watching? I don't know. Us talking about.
I don't know who these sick bastards are, but I love them and everything they stand for.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, everyone.
it's
It warms these old cockles. It really does.
and what have you been watching? And I know we've spoken, but tell me, tell everyone, what have you watched the past couple of weeks now? 2 weeks.
Ooh, let's see. Let's see. It's funny. There was a friend on Facebook that said that he was going to have a movie night with the missus. What everyone recommended. I knew there was a few things that I'd watched recently, but you know how sometimes it is. As soon as you get asked the question,
Well,
all
I
the
can tell
knowledge
you what
just
you've watched.
disappears.
Dark Matter.
Finished it finally.
And did you watch it? Was it 6 or 8 episodes? 9 episodes. Jesus.
9 episodes.
Did you watch that? Did you binge it?
Yeah. So I think it was in all about 2 days.
Yep.
Just plowed through it,
Yep. Yep.
and oh, Mr. Edgerton, uh, love his work,
Yeah, he's good at it.
and and especially with some of the when he's trying to put forward some of those emotional parts, he just has this hangdog
Yeah.
look to him that was just so well done there.
Yeah.
But
Resting, if I could get me out of here face, or what
yeah,
resting something face, people do.
resting. Oh, there's four lives of hell face.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny. I was thinking, sort of leading up to last week, but now for this week, I kept focusing on. And by the way, everyone, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the series. But at least we've both watched it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think about with the multiverse where they say for every decision that's ever been made,
Yep.
it splits for each and every possibility there. But one thing I started to think of is you've got universes where just say yourself doesn't exist,
Yep.
and there are other people that exist in those universes that aren't in yours. So
Yes.
they've got their decisions that split off as well, which just it's hard enough to get your mind around it when it's just the people in your universe. But
Yeah.
when you bring in people that aren't even in yours and then it splits from there,
Yeah.
it's just so much more. And then here we have this series where I love the fact that they go into a single room
Yeah.
with the concoction in their veins, close the door,
Yep.
and you've got the Hall of Worlds there.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just as
Done
soon
well,
as that
wasn't it?
door shuts,
Yeah,
bang, there it is.
yeah, yeah.
It's
The whole multi-dimension is not easy to do, um,
mm,
and it's not easy to visualize how someone goes from one dimension to another. But
mm.
this series nailed it. Um,
Oh my
I
God,
mean, it's
didn't
great
they?
sci-fi, but you know what I mean? Like how I was going on about how it was scary. Like
Yeah,
there's rarely um there's rarely a show or a movie or whatever where you're watching it and like this dark matter, the
mm,
last couple of episodes where you're like, holy fuck, you know
yeah,
how he knows how much trouble he is in because he is that person. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? And he knows
He,
what he would do in that
oh,
situation, which is fucking anything, you know?
yeah.
And
And not only that, but it really threw me because there I was thinking that so this other, what was it, Jason or whatever, has come over and he's found the Goldilocks
yep,
universe for him,
yep,
where
yep,
it's he's got the wife, he's got the kid, and that's he goes with that. But then as we get on, suddenly there's these other ones
yeah,
popping up,
yeah,
and he's they said I think in his original universe he was gone for something like 18 months.
yep,
He'd been putting in the yards in those months. And then suddenly we've got all these other versions of him
yeah,
that are coming to this Goldilocks one because this is where the bastard is
yep,
that's screwed up their universe.
yep, yep, yep,
And suddenly they've started their own chat,
yeah, yeah. It wasn't that
and
scary.
there's hundreds of them.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't that scary. It was just
That
like
last episode,
there was a few
where
few times where the
oh
penny dropped and you work something out. You're like, holy shit, this is fucking full on.
yeah,
This is fucking full on. Dark matter.
and
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean, imagine coming across yourself that's been through so much that you
yeah,
barely even recognize yourself
yeah, yeah.
in that version of you, where
And
they've
like
gone through enough shit.
he wasn't like he was in that a long time, but not a long time. You mentioned 18 months, but shit, a lot of things can happen in 18 months
Oh
in
God, yeah. Well,
universes.
that's the thing. We're assuming that in each world that he went to, time runs concurrent to ours.
Yeah, yeah, of
Possible that it doesn't.
course.
So it's
Yeah,
possible that, and when you see how many there are, it actually makes better sense that it doesn't.
yeah,
Because in those 18 months, how did he first perfect how to get the door to do what he wants?
yeah, yeah.
And then go into each of these worlds, kidnap versions of himself,
The
and go through all of this.
the only show that I think has done that whole different world thing as good is Rick and Morty. You know,
Oh,
really think Rick
yeah.
and Morty has done that so well. But you know, maybe it was even better here because it was actual actors. You know, it wasn't a
Yeah.
dude with a pen and an imagination, which it can do
Yeah.
now. This was actors, it was sets, you know.
And that's the thing. And don't get me wrong, the sets that we see are
Mm.
very good.
Yep.
I don't know how much of it was physical, how much of it was computer generated, but it looked great.
Hold on.
Just like where the box was and things like that.
Yep.
You can tell that it's with some of the sci-fi, some of the effects aside for the worlds that they went to.
Yep.
Most of this was just our world with a camera.
Yeah. Yep.
It seems like they didn't need too much of a budget for it,
Oh, they
which,
got it.
like we've said before,
Is there talk of another season? Have you heard anything?
yeah, it's already on IMDb.
Okay, cool. So it is happening.
IMDb has season two set. There's no date, but it's got season two set and it's got the first episode showing there. No details, of course, but we're
I'm gonna
in.
do it like you next time. I'm not gonna watch an episode and have to wait another week to watch another one. We're just gonna have to let it go, and then binge the fuck out of it because it's just
I
too.
I have to say, if I had done it episode by episode, oh, I would have been,
So
itching
good. Yeah.
as each week ticked by. I'm
It's not.
so glad I waited, did it all the way through in one hit, and my Godfather, it's yeah, for the multiverse, the way that they did it, the way that they showed it, the way they explained it. For my money, with everything I've seen in either movies, TV shows, or read,
Yeah.
it's one of the best versions I've ever seen.
All right. Moving on. Have you been to the cinema?
Last thing I saw at the cinema was the new Crew movie.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't see that one. Um, did you see that movie? I saw it. Um, oh my goodness. It's about the drug. It's called the procedure. The
Oh yeah, it's got Demi Moore in it.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
What's it
I've got
called?
a version of it on hard drive, but I haven't watched it yet.
What's it called?
Substance.
Substance. The substance. I mean, I should have known that because I've seen it. The substance. Yes. All right. Well, can you do me a favor? Can you watch that? Because I'm
Oh
really
yeah,
forward to talking to you about the substance. Okay, we'll get onto that.
done like a dinner. I've got a version on hard drive and an evening open. I love the double play on the title,
Yeah.
where it's a substance you inject, but it's also what is the substance of a person,
Yes. Of
what
course.
makes the person. And uh, look, I've never been that much of a fan of Demi Moore. Uh, I saw her first in One Crazy Summer with
Yep.
John Cusack, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yep.
Brilliant movie. But I think it takes where you've got a movie where it involves uh, aging, actresses, models, debutantes, what have you, there, where they get to inject themselves with something and reclaim all of their youth. I think it takes a certain amount of courage for an actress that's, what would she be, at least in her 60s now?
She's
Because
in
Christ,
it.
we're in our late 40s.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
No,
she'd have to be at least in her late 50s.
she's looking good.
I think it takes a lot of guts, a lot of courage for an actress like that to do a role like this. So for me, hats off to that.
Watch it. Then let's talk about it next week. Another one I
Done.
saw today, believe it or not, I saw Transformers.
The animated one with uh, Chris Hemsworth.
Yep, the one at the cinema. And
How
all
was it? I haven't seen it yet.
again, I want you to see it. Are you going to go to the cinema? Are you going to download it? Doesn't matter how you get it. Watch that. We got to smash that up too.
Awesome, because I saw the trailer and I felt like there was a good core of humor coming through with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, the Transformers world is, or Cybertron, their world,
Hmm.
like they've been at war for
Hmm.
centuries and centuries and centuries. And I think that's really cool. I really, really, really do. And we all know, no spoilers, it's the they call it one because it's the start of Optimus.
Yeah,
And I'll stop there, but that is so fun to do a what do they
that's
call it? Like not a prequel, but a
Origin.
origin. Origin. That's what I was
Hmm.
looking. It's an origin. It's an origin
Hmm.
not just of Optimus, but some other characters too. So I'll leave the
Awesome.
so good, man. So good.
Because it's funny. Origins, especially in an established
Yep.
franchise,
Yep.
uh, it's one of those things where I think we even talked about it last time. How er, in Batman movies,
Yep.
we don't need to see his origin anymore.
No.
It's been done. I think there's tribes in South America as yet untouched by Western man that know
Yeah,
the origin of Batman.
yeah, but that's the thing because
But
Batman's origin is so well known. Superman's
yeah,
origin is so well known. Well,
Spider-Man's.
Spider-Man's origin, yes, so well known. Whose origin do we not know? Um,
Well,
who
that's it. And
don't know Optimus
uh,
Prime's origin. We don't know that. Um,
yeah,
um, a lot of the X-Men, we know their origin. There's a lot of origin with the X-Men. Origin's cool. I reckon it's really, really
yeah.
cool. You know?
Especially when it's one that it's not sort of readily established
Yeah,
in whatever franchise it is, and when it's done well, because we love we love to love these characters,
yeah, yeah,
and we want to see a nice, origin story, a birthing story,
yeah,
where we've got characters where, I mean, like you said, Optimus Prime,
yeah,
he's you know. For all intents and purposes, the Captain America or Superman of Transformers, where he's the one with this unbreakable moral core. He's this natural leader. How did he get there?
mm,
Because we've never seen it before.
yeah, yeah,
Hell, that was it in 1988, the Transformers animated movie. We saw him die and get reborn,
yeah,
but
yeah,
we don't know where Prime came from.
yeah, yeah.
And to see a good origin story done well, oh, beautiful.
What? Who would you like to see an origin of out of any X-Men
Ooh.
or superheroes? Who haven't we? Who don't we know the origin of? And who?
If we're talking about characters that are actually out there, um, ooh, uh, there's not, because even in we've had various origins, especially in say the X-Men, where we haven't seen uh, too much of say Nightcrawler. We got to see a bit of
Yeah,
a version in Apocalypse. Same with Angel.
yep,
Um, I mean, there are some very good origin stories out there waiting to be done.
yep.
If we're talking about one of my favorite characters, Plastic Man,
Oh, yep,
uh, DC Comics, one of the oldest, because I think his origin was uh, no, 41 maybe.
yeah. Okay,
Uh, Holds him at the same year as Wonder Woman.
yeah.
Um, it's a fairly easy origin story, but it's a nice story arc origin.
We haven't seen him in cinema though.
No.
Like we've had him like in on heaps of cartoons, and God is
Oh, well, yeah, he had his back in the 70s,
yeah.
voiced by the same guy that played Get Smart, that played Maxwell Smart. He did the voice of Plastic Man back in the old. It was like a Plastic Man half hour with another half hour of another
Yep.
cartoon series.
Yeah,
But no live action. Never seen it. There was talk for a while where he was going to be introduced live action, and Bruce Campbell
oh,
from Evil Dead was going to play Plastic Man,
I kind of,
which,
as soon as you said that, I thought, oh yeah, that works. Maybe
oh,
it's the face or
fuck me, doesn't it? I
like,
mean, that chin of his and that humor that he has, that voice delivery, everything
yeah,
screams Plastic Man.
yeah. Well,
And
there's a series that I know we're getting off tangent, but that's all we ever do. Is
that's the Topia.
I wanted to ask you about, have you ever, well, watched a series and sometimes you smash it out like you did Dark Matter, but have you ever watched a series and, it's taken you a few goes to get through it, so to speak?
Yeah.
Like,
The one that comes straight to mind, because I couldn't find it on one of the streamers, so I've downloaded the two seasons that they did.
yep.
Counterpart.
Okay, yep.
J.K. Simmons, and it's with this one. There's only two worlds.
You sent that to me to watch. You sent me the
Yeah,
yeah. So
and
what
I've
what's it
tried
on?
it a couple of times, gotten to about episode two or three each time, but um, TV series, movies, I look at them in the same way as with books, where you'll try them a few times, but you need to be in the right headspace for them.
Yeah.
And this obviously is one that I've needed to be in the right headspace for, because when you look at it objectively, it's straight up my alley.
Yep.
It involves two parallel universes at basically a Cold War with each other.
Yep.
Why wouldn't I be all over that?
Yep.
Tried it a couple of times, but combination of other things coming up. But I think after Dark Matter,
Yep.
I'm
Ready
in the
for
right
it.
mind
Yeah.
for it.
Well, that's what happened with me with Evil Dead, the series, not the
Ah,
movie. Um,
yeah,
I, I can't remember how many seasons there are. Is there a couple of seasons for Evil
yeah,
Dead?
it's about two, three, or four.
I loved them. I really loved them,
Mm,
but sometimes you just kind of you get through a lot and you have to start watching something else, so you do.
yeah.
And sometimes have you ever, here's my next question. Have you ever thought you'd finished the season and you hadn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raised by Wolves.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought I'd finished the that
Sci-fi,
last season,
you know,
and
kind of weird,
because
great sci-fi season,
oh, that intro song,
but you know what?
weird and awesome.
I just don't get the kind of like the name Raised by Wolves is a bit kind
Yeah.
of odd, isn't it? For that series.
To me, it sort of it fit because this one they're raised by those androids,
Androids. Yeah. Yep.
so it's just another thing
Yep.
that out. But yeah, it's and I still haven't finished it yet. I think I've got about three episodes or two.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And because sometimes you
real.
get these American shows and they'll go into a hiatus for
Yeah.
whatever reason. Sometimes it's due to their, mid-season break.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's due to, you know, uh, a couple of weeks off, 4th of July. Sometimes it's because you know, uh, the company that had hold of them, like, no, we're not funding it anymore, and then it has to jump to another one.
Yep.
This one had a break. I think it ended up being about 6 or 9 months or something. And I just thought it had left it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But I still need to go back to that one. But
Maybe
that's one that I thought
you know
had been
what?
done.
I probably do too, because I haven't watched that in years. And I loved that. That was a great,
Oh,
you know, that
yeah. And it had the Aussie actor in it that was in Vikings.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Great,
Femel, I
great,
think's the last name.
great show.
Uh, and again with Ash versus the Evil Dead,
Yep.
I think I'm only halfway through season two
Oh, yep, yep. So you haven't
and
gone,
got distracted there.
yeah. But
But
that's
again,
okay.
that's one that should be right up my alley. But yet, there's nothing wrong with putting something aside for a bit.
Yep. Coming back to it. And that's what good
Oh,
about the streaming service. It somewhat remembers, not always.
yeah,
Because here I was, remember I told you I'm watching want to watch the second season of Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings of
yeah.
Power. And I thought, you know what? I cannot remember. It's been, I only been a couple of years, but I just cannot remember um the first season. I go back and
Mm.
start watching the first season, and I've almost finished it now. I've got a couple of episodes to go, but I haven't watched it. I've had to come to that conclusion. I'm like, you know what? I've
Really?
seen this like
Because
100%.
we've talked about this before, and you said, "Yeah, I'm waiting for the second season.
Yeah,
I can't wait for it, but I might
I,
have to go back."
yeah.
But you hadn't actually watched
I
it.
hadn't actually finished season one, and it's quite exciting that. Okay, my next question for you, right, Lee? Have you ever watched a new season? Okay, and when you've started watching the most current season, you've realized, holy shit, I didn't watch the last season, and you've missed an entire season. Which
There's
which show?
yeah.
What?
Oh, I'll have to try and remember because there's been a few where, and this sort of lends me to why I like to go back and at least watch the last episode
Yeah.
of the last season.
Yep. You
Because
got
not
it.
only is that recap at the start, season encompassing,
Yep.
but it gets you nicely caught up.
Yep.
Uh, and there have been a few where you're watching it and you're like, okay, there's a few things happening where you're like,
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
yeah.
but that could be me just not remembering.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't
yeah,
remember this. That
yeah,
could just be.
yeah, yeah.
It sort of reaches
Because
a
of the
level
age
where
where
you're
like,
like,
oh
okay,
no,
something's off here.
I
I've
definitely missed
missed
the
something.
season. Well, it happened to me with the boys, okay? Because I
Ah,
watched the latest season. Is it season five?
four, I think.
Four. So I must have completely missed season three somehow.
Right.
Missed it. And you know how it does that thing where it sums up a whole season in like,
Yeah.
you know, just a minute
like
or so.
like the
And I'm
60
watching
seconds
it.
before that.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're like,
when
hang
you
on, I
said to
don't.
me, hang on, I don't remember that. Hang on, what? Hang on. And then I'm just like,
This is familiar.
then I'm like, I can't watch it now. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm gonna do is
Yeah,
watch the season four first, and then by the end of that, I would have totally forgot that minute that I watched, and then go back.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's where I am there. So that's okay to do that too, if that happens.
exactly. I mean, when you break it down, there's no hard and fast rules.
Yep.
No one should keep themselves to what they perceive to be how everyone else does it.
Yep.
It's like I remember when I was younger, I used to think I'm never going to go to the theater by myself. Who
Yep.
who goes to watch a movie by themselves? That's weird. I love doing that these days because a lot of the time, especially at our age,
Yep.
not everyone's available when you're
Yeah.
available
Yep.
and all
Yep.
that. And I love to be able to just go, and especially when it's a couple of weeks in, theater's mostly empty,
Yep.
and I can just be myself in the theater and watch it.
Do you
So
remember the very first movie that you saw by yourself?
oh, I know roughly what year it was, but uh
The what movie I saw and where I saw it, and it was on George Street at the big cinemas, Hoyts,
ah
and it was Fortress 2.
oh my God.
Remember Fortress
You
2 was
saw that at the theater?
from the theater? Yeah, okay, it's okay.
I thought that was straight to video.
No, no. There's a one where it was
Damn.
set in space, right?
Oh yeah, Christopher Lambert in space.
And what about Fortress 1?
Oh, one of my favorite movies of all time.
I've forgotten. What's
And
Fortress 1 again? Where was that set?
okay,
Oh, 10
so
minute
it's
warning,
set
mate. 10-minute
10-minute
warning.
warning. See if I can break it down nice and quickly. Authoritarian dystopian future. Resources minimal. There's a cap on how many children you can have. You can
Yeah,
have
that's right.
one.
They were scanning pregnant women. They were
Yeah.
scanning people to see if they're pregnant, and she wore
And
a
women would have like these lead shields over their stomachs so
yeah,
they couldn't detect babies.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, Christopher Lambert's wife was pregnant. He was actually a police officer, one of the soldiers. Uh, they try to cross a border illegally. They get caught. He gets into the
Yeah,
fortress,
yeah.
underground facility,
Underground. Yeah,
uh, cameras, lasers, things like that. It also had
yeah.
Jeffrey Combs in it,
It had the
one of my favorite actors.
a bad guy, a funny like he was strong or something, a big bloke, the villain.
Aussie actor that was in. He was the guy that played Matrix. No, the guy that played the main bad guy in Commando. The guy that
Oh,
used to be in the Mad Max movies.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Where's
Jeffrey
the door
Combs, who
or
was Herbert West in The Reanimator.
shoots him? Arnold shoots him. Is that right?
Oh, throws that pipe in and was like, let off some steam, Bennett.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, and it's also got the guy that played the father in that '70s show
Oh, yeah.
as the warden running the prison,
Yeah,
and just
I kind of remember it now, Fortress One. So it was set underground and
mm,
he escapes, right?
yeah,
And the next
it
one is
ends as happily as it can.
and the next one is set Fortress Two, which is
Yeah.
the first movie I saw by myself. Um,
Oh,
remember the feeling when I like going in and sitting down by myself. Now I'm all good
Well,
with
you must have been okay because I'm sure that cinema would have been empty.
yeah. But that also it was quite ridiculous that because can you imagine the money they'd spend on sending a prisoner to space? You know,
Yeah.
no, they're not going to.
I it's been so many years since I watched it. I can't even remember if it was one of the like the premise was to try and recoup the costs and everything that it was in part of an asteroid and they were mining the asteroids as they do it. I honestly can't remember.
Let's
But
watch it
funny
again, eh?
enough,
Let's watch it again. Let's watch it again.
done. There was a movie some years later, I think about mid 2000s, with uh, Guy Pearce that's essentially the same thing. And I think there was actually some lawsuits involved because it pretty much ripped off Fortress 2.
Yeah, wow. God, why
But
would you do that? You know?
sorry, yeah,
I mean, it's really not like it's okay sending prisoners to space, but space prison, but you know.
yeah. But if you're doing it, and because there's a guy that gets sent up, and he wasn't meant to be there, and yada yada, ex-soldier, and all this sort of thing. There are quite a lot of points of similarity
I
in.
bloody love prison movies. One of my one of my loves is prison movies. I just
Yeah.
love them. The old ones, the new ones, any series set in prisons. I'm just so interested in them. So
One
interested.
of my early memories was traveling with dad. We were traveling by car. We were stopped at probably a country comfort inn sort of thing.
Yep.
And I was supposed to be asleep, and he had the TV on,
Yep.
and the original Papillon was playing,
Don't know that one. I don't know that one.
based on a book that's apparently based on a true story.
Yep.
Um,
How do you
a
spell
guy
it?
that was
Papillon.
set
P
up Frenchman and just went through actual hell. And the original one was Dustin Hoffman and Steve McQueen,
ah.
and just
What's it about?
absolute
Papillon.
island hellholes.
What's it
Papillon, which is
what's it
French
about?
for butterfly.
What's it about?
Yeah, so this guy gets set up, gets sent to this hellhole prison, um, and it's just what he goes through there and his efforts to escape.
Yep.
And the part that I really remember was I was supposed to be asleep, but
Yep.
of course, I was about, I don't know, seven or something. And I was sort of,
Pretending.
under the covers looking through like that. And the one part that I look up and see is when this guy gets guillotined and his head rolls out into the audience. And I stuck my head back under the blanket after that. But
Yeah,
just
but
one of those early movie memories.
how good
Um,
are those movies? They're just so good. And the series as well. Just to name a
uh,
few. Let's name so Papillon I never seen. Another really old Chow movie that I've seen is called Cool Hand Luke. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen it, but I know that's where Guns N' Roses got there. What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Yeah, yeah.
And he gets dared to eat 50, oh no, 100 boiled eggs.
No, 50 eggs. 50
Was
eggs.
it 50?
My,
Oh, okay.
my boss says it can eat 50 eggs and he can eat 50 eggs. Yeah, so he eats 50 eggs in Cool Hand. You're like, and there's I haven't seen this movie in years. I can't wait to see it again. But there's one scene when, because it's set so long ago that they
Mm.
didn't let the prisoners do whatever they want. They sent them to do stuff and they sent these prisoners to work. So they're like just building roads,
Yeah, chain
building
gang.
roads, building roads, building roads. And don't get excited about this, but I just remember this. And then this part where they stop building roads, and that warden who's about the failure to communicate. Let's eat them.
Another good prison one.
Let's
Oh,
eat
yeah.
them beans. And he's just saying to the prisoners, "Let's eat them beans. Let's have lunch." And I
Oh,
cannot eat baked beans
that's that's
without
Paul
that.
Newman in his prime.
It just comes into my head. Let's eat them
Yeah.
beans, boys. Let's eat them beans. I gotta
Oh,
listen to that again. I really have to.
oh.
Another movie?
Uh,
Tell me. Prison movies
Prison Escape movie.
or Escape?
Arnold Schwarzenegger and
That's right.
Sylvester Stallone.
Great movie. Great movie.
Yeah.
80s, very fun. Great movie. You
Oh,
know.
it wasn't 80s. This
Oh,
was fairly recent. It had Jim Caviezel in it as the warden. It had uh, Vincent D'Onofrio in it as well.
what
It's
is
when
80s?
oh no, this was 2010s. I'm
Escape
pretty
Plan.
sure.
Escape Plan. Right.
Escape Plan. That's it.
Escape Plan.
And yeah.
I don't know
Um,
why I thought it was 80s. I guess because it had
well,
Arnold.
look who's in it for God's
Yeah,
sake.
yeah,
You've
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger pairing up.
Yeah. So you naturally think 80s, do you? You just like, oh,
Exactly.
must be 80s. It's got Schwarzenegger in it. Um,
Oh, Birdman of Alcatraz.
oh, yep, yep, with Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And he's got the picture of the woman with the hole behind it, and he
Oh,
like throws something at the poster and it goes through the hole, and he's like, yeah. That's one
that
movie
was
that I
Shawshank.
saw as a
Yeah,
that is Shawshank that. Yes, you're right.
yeah.
Yeah. But
It's a conspiracy,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you're all involved.
yeah, yeah,
You even heard of the wall.
yeah. And yeah, yeah, Shawshank another. I mean, we don't have to talk about Shawshank because it's beyond good as
Yeah,
well.
there was a great prison movie. It had Christian Slater, Kevin Bacon, a couple of others, and it was
Yeah, yes, yes. And
yes.
Kevin Bacon
This was early 2000s, I think,
and he got
or
locked
late 90s.
in this disgusting hole. He got locked in the hole. He stole $5 from a post office, tried to
Yeah, it was a convenience store that just happened to be a post office that made it a federal crime.
yep, yep, yep,
Guy got hamstrung as
yeah.
well. They cut his hamstrings,
Oh wow, yeah.
and apparently, it's the case when they took it to court was the one that eventually got Alcatraz shut down.
Yes, yes. What we got to work out the name of that movie because I've seen it a few times. I've seen it
Yeah, it's a brilliant. The acting in it is just
less than a minute
uh,
to go. Less than a minute
oh,
to go, Lee. Unfortunately, less than a minute to go. But honestly, I
might
could
not be able to
talk
make it.
hours. Yep, get the movie. Can you do it? You looking for it?
Here we go. Christian Slater. I need
Up.
uh late 90s or early
And
2000s.
remember he brings in that girl of the night for him to have his way with when he's in